Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. I think it's time to talk Weebit Nano. This is almost like a cult-like stock on the ASX. There are some investors out there extremely excited about the potential of this company, and that excitement has increased the valuation on this company to about $1 billion, even though Weebit Nano is pre-revenue. Now, being pre-revenue is not necessarily a bad thing because every single company, every single business that's ever existed in human history at one point in time was pre-revenue. I doubt there's an example of a company that was producing revenue the instant it was formed. Maybe there are examples, but I cannot think of any right now. So Weebit Nano is pre-revenue, but it does have exciting technology that many investors believe will revolutionize the world. So they have developed next-gen NVM, which is non-volatile memory. I'll talk about that in a second. But the reason this company popped onto my radar on March the 22nd was just what happened with the share price on this day. So let's talk about that briefly before we talk about what's happened on the day after the share price dropped 20%, which is possibly even more intriguing. But before we go down that path of looking all the intriguing things that have happened to Weebit Nano on March the 22nd and 23rd, I am not a shareholder of this company. I have never been a shareholder of this company, and more than likely, I will never be a shareholder of this company unless Weebit Nano proves their business model. And I could envisage myself, I could have envisaged myself taking a position in this company, a very small position in this company, maybe 5 years ago, because my risk tolerance has changed over the past 5 years, in particularly over the past year. So I'm more of a risk-averse investor right now. So I need companies to have proven their business model before I take a look at investing in those companies. So Weebit Nano right now doesn't fit into those type of companies that I'm willing to take an investment in. But that's not disparaging those investors who are willing to make an investment in Weebit Nano, because we need those investors, or otherwise companies like Weebit Nano could not survive, could not exist. And a little bit of a rant right now, I do get a little bit pissed off when you listen to experts talking about there's only one way to invest, and that one way to invest is the way I invest. And most of those experts who talk like that are typically found within the Warren Buffett cult club. They believe the way Warren Buffett invests is the only way to invest. But there's many ways to invest. There are many different investing strategies. And the whole point is finding your own light, finding the investment strategy that works for you. That Warren Buffett type of investing strategy doesn't work for everyone. And I can definitely understand the investing strategy that a lot of venture capitalists use, and that is putting a lot of money into all these different types of pre-revenue companies on the belief that there is a probability that at least one or two of those companies will make it in the end. And if they make it in the end, even if most of the companies fail that they invest in, that the returns of those companies that do succeed will overwhelm the losses they make on those companies that don't. That's a definite investing strategy. I would say it's a higher risk investing strategy, but again, I'm more risk averse, and those type of investors are more risk taking. So I definitely can understand why some investors would be excited about Weebit Nano, even though they are pre-revenue. And I think we have to embrace all these different types of investing strategies. So whenever you hear experts say there's only one way to invest, and that's the Warren Buffett way to invest, just understand and appreciate there's many different ways. And trying to find your own way to invest is the most important process when it comes to your investing life. Now onto the whole reason I'm doing this video today on Weebit Nano. So after trading has finished every single trading day, I go to Market Index and I look at the biggest gaining companies on the ASX and the biggest losing companies on the ASX in terms of share price change. And if we look at the 5 biggest losing companies on the ASX in terms of share price change, on March the 22nd, we have 5 companies, and 4 of the companies sort of belong in the same sort of group of companies. But there's definitely one company that doesn't belong. So we have Remsense Technologies, Nexion Group, Sprintex, the Agency Group. All those companies have a markup of under $10 million, although the agency group is $10.7 million. And not only that, in the past year, the share price of those four companies have decreased a significant amount. In fact, Nexium Group share price has decreased 82%. And then we get to Weebit Nano, the fourth worst performing company on the ASX, share price down 20% or $1.40 to $5.54. The markup cap of this company after the share price had dropped 20% is still hovering just below $1 billion. But if we look at the share price performance of Weebit Nano over the past year, it's up 100%. And if you just think of what's been happening in the tech sector in the past year, the majority of tech companies have been absolutely smashed, particularly unprofitable tech companies. They have been the main sort of tech companies that have been absolutely smashed when it comes to the share price. Yet, Weebit Nano share price has jumped 100%. So there's definitely a different sentiment when it comes to Weebit Nano than the overall general loss-making tech company, not only on the ASX, but in overseas markets. So what's been happening with Weebit Nano? What's been causing this excitement with this company over the past year? And what caused the share price to drop 20% on March 22nd? So the first place I go to is look at the announcements the company has released. So a lot of times when the share price of a company rises or drops a lot, a lot of times, it can be because of an announcement, a negative or positive announcement. But Weebit Nano released no announcements on March the 22nd or even the 21st. So that's not the reason why the share price dropped 20%. There's obviously another reason, and I'm going to explore that reason during this video. Now, exactly what does Weebit do? They have created a next generation NVM technology. NVM stands for non-volatile memory. If you don't know what non-volatile memory means, it's just that type of memory that retains information even after power has been removed. So we're talking about hard disk drives, floppy disks for those who remember, read-only memory, magnetic tapes, and flash memory. So Weebit have produced the next generation NVM technology called ReRAM. Now, this company, founded in 2015, signed the first commercial deal. Now, you might say that means they have proven their technology. In fact, on this particular slide, they've stated here, proven protected technology. Now, in my opinion, they can't really say they have proven their technology until they make money by selling their technology. So we're still waiting for that stage in Weebit Nano's business life. But there is potential they are moving towards that point. That point might be next week, next month, in a year's time, might even be 5 years' time. We just don't know just yet. So there's still a lot of risk when it comes to Weebit Nano. And that's one of the reasons I have not taken a position in this company, because I'm a little bit more risk averse, and I want to see proof of their business model. Now, according to Weebit Nano, their ReRAM, their new NVM technology, has advantages over flash memory. For instance, 3 to 4 times lower added wafer cost, 100 times better endurance, 100 times more energy efficient, scales to process below limits of flash, 100 times faster programming, higher temp thresholds, and a better radiation tolerance. And that means they are able to address a broad range of applications. For instance, wireless charging, motor control, wearable smart cards, security cameras, industrials, ECUs for sensors and controllers in the automotive industry, and even in the aerospace and defense, flight safety systems, and also satellites. So a lot of things possible going on for Weebit Nano, a lot of possible applications they can use their technology for. Now, I've already mentioned that Weebit Nano is pre-revenue, and just to prove it, here is their most recent profit and loss statement from the half-year results that they released in February, and there is no revenue line here. It's just expenses, loss from operations, finance income expenses, loss before tax for the period, income tax expense, which of course is zero, and net loss for the period. Now, if you take into account foreign currency translation differences of foreign operations, they lost $21.6 million for this particular period, which is a 6-month period. So they are burning through a lot of cash. So when a company is burning through a lot of cash and they are pre-revenue, there is a higher chance the company will have to do a capital raising eventually. And hopefully I'm not hinting at what this company has exactly done on March the 23rd. Now, before we have a look at what happened on March the 23rd, let's just have a look at the chart for Weebit Nano. So this is the daily chart going back to September 2021. So between about September 2021 and the end of 2022, share price of this company just going sideways, nothing much happening at all. No uptrend, no downtrend. You just say share price consolidating. And then for some reason, not sure why, interest in this company really started to explode in November, December of last year, and then really took off at the start of this particular year. Share price increased from about $3 to a high of $9, so a three-bagger in a 2 to 3 month period. But then on March the 22nd, share price suddenly dropped 20%. Now, previous to this big one-day drop, the share price had been pulling back. Share price pulled back from $9 to $7 before we saw this 20% drop in share price in one day. So you could say, just by this chart, that there was a fair bit of profit taking. And we also have seen significant volume coming in over the past few months. So the market is getting excited about where Weebit Nano is right now. And a lot of times, for companies like Weebit Nano that are pre-revenue, that are burning through a lot of cash, when you see the share price take off like we have seen in the past few months, the best thing management can do is take advantage of that and do a capital raising to raise more money at these elevated prices. And to give things away, they have done exactly that on March the 23rd. But before that happened, the company released an ASX price query reply. So when the share price of a company drops a lot, like 20% in one day on no news, or rises a lot, like 20 or 30% on no news, more than likely the company will release an ASX price query, because the ASX wants a company to try and explain why the share price might have risen or dropped a lot in one day. Is there any explanation? And the majority of times, the simple explanation from the company is no, we have no idea why the share price has dropped or risen by a lot in one day. But that did not happen with Weebit Nano. So the ASX asked Weebit Nano, in light of the information, that the share price fell from $6.94 to $5.72, and there was a significant increase in volume. That's the other thing I should mention. So not only does the ASX look at price movement, they also look at the volume. There was significant volume coming in. So the ASX wanted Weebit to answer, why was there a big drop in the share price on increase and significant increase in volume? And then Weebit replied with something I wasn't really expecting. And as I've mentioned, most companies respond with a simple no. We don't understand why the share price has dropped or risen a lot in one day. We might have some theories behind it, but there's no definite explanation. But Weebit Nano answered with yes. So you very rarely see this. And their reasoning behind why the share price might have dropped 20% is around capital raising they have been thinking about or considering. And they make note that no decision had been made to proceed with the capital raising until after the close of trading on the 22nd of March 2023, and that it was not and is not aware of any information relating to the placement or share purchase plan, ceasing to be confidential. So probably going to be some skeptical people out there, some cynics out there who would say, well, there would have been some people who were aware that there was this capital raising going to be taking place with Weebit Nano, and they decided to sell their shares because then they can buy in at lower prices, because it is unusual for a share price to drop 20% in one day. They also had some other explanations to why the share price might have dropped 20% that are not included here. And one of those explanations was the share price had increased a lot in the previous few months, and there was a lot of volume as well, that sort of thing. But it's really interesting. The share price dropped 20%, and then the company announced they were actually doing a capital raising. Now, some people might be upset that they're doing a capital raising, but this is exactly what the management of Weebit Nano has to do. When they see the share price rise like it has over the past few months, the best thing they can do for shareholders is to raise capital, raise more money at these elevated prices. And that's exactly what the company has done. They're raising $45 million via underwritten placement. And there's also a share purchase plan of up to $10 million to be offered to eligible shareholders. And the price for this raising is at $5. So they want to issue approximately 9 million new paid shares. So that's not a lot. Not a lot of new shares. So if you times 9 million shares by $5, that's $45 million as well. And they hope to raise an additional $10 million. And at $5, that's only 2 million more shares. So they're increasing the shares on issue by only 11 million. So that's not a lot. And the whole reason why companies should be raising capitals at elevated prices is because there will be less dilution for current shareholders at those current elevated prices. So I have to congratulate Weebit Nano's management for raising capital at these prices. That's all I have looking at Weebit Nano. They're very interesting technology, I have to admit. And even though this is not the sort of company I am willing to invest in right now, just because on my risk profile, I can definitely understand why this company is enticing to some of those more risk-taking investors out there. So if you are a Weebit Nano shareholder, I'd love to hear from you. Why have you invested in this company? Why are you excited about the future of Weebit Nano? Or if you're quite bearish about this company, if you think it's another brain chip, because brain chip is taking a while to prove its technology, I'd love to hear from you as well. So leave any thoughts you have in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.